we also spoke to the civil servants at the national level. In this study, we also spoke to some people at some representatives from the Parliament of Uganda. But then when it comes to the findings, especially at the district level and also sub-county, these were the findings. We discovered that all civil servants, in their respective capacities, they agree that in principle, citizens have the right to access governmental information. Then we also saw that most public servants, both elected and appointed, said that they had limited knowledge on access to Information Act. I don't know what the case is here for those present, but just to reflect on that. Then again, we did see that most public officials don't know that they are legally obliged to release information. We've had in a previous submission some of the expectations that how does one go about releasing information, what is the right procedure for someone to actually seek information. Then again, we did see that even with the ATI Act being present, that this has not fostered better conditions for the public, for the civil servants to share information with the citizens. The media here, I'm sure you have your experiences on access to information when you seek that information from the government offices. And knowing that the ATI Act is already in place, your experiences, I believe later on you'll be able to share that when the next presenter shares. Now that is from the civil servant's perspective, because clearly we did see that there was limited knowledge on the ATI Act, and also it was not really working well for people, and also there was no training that had been conducted with the civil servants. Now, from the public, the wananchi, we also wanted to understand how do they experience access to information, because they use that information in their daily lives. And here we did see that overall, Ugandans say that they're interested in government health information. They are particularly interested in understanding expenditure on local services. Key over time, we have seen they're interested in knowing about health, education, and water. So they are always eager to know how much money has been allocated for this and then how has it been spent. Then we did see that 7 out of 10, 70%, say that it's not easy to access information on government budgets, laws, and also projects. We know there have been a number of projects in the past, and now there is this new program, the parish development model. What does that say about what citizens will experience or are experiencing at the moment? Because we don't know if some people have approached you and asked how did that thing work, because sounds very good. So are people curious to know, and are you giving them some information? And the question again for yourselves, how much information do you have? Then in 2018, we did see that when it comes to seeking information, most citizens prefer to get that information through a physical visit. So if at all someone comes to your office and it's locked, it becomes a barrier for them to actually access certain services, because they will want to come to your office when it's open and you're available. But the other thing we did see is that when it comes to how citizens access information, first of all, they will opt to visit the office physically. Secondly, they will want to speak to their LC1. Now, for both the media and also the representatives from the district and sub-county, as we sit here and think about access to information, citizens will want to go to the LC1 to get information. But are we confident that the LC1 gets that information? because we know that in your different programs that you prioritize what is important for the people of college, that at some point the LC1 and his people's views will be included in the prioritization. But how much information does the LC1 have about what is happening at the district? And when they seek information, how do we usually respond? Then we saw that across the entire country, as of 2019, as of December 2020, only 1% of our population, that is the ordinary citizen, the wananchi, was aware of the ATI Act, the Access to Information Law. So, if I don't know that there is a law that states this and that, what courage will I get to actually go and seek information? Because the law is quite clear on what information you can seek and how you should seek that and when you should get that and so on. So again, that is to show why we wanted to have this program, this training, that on the demand side, that is the wananchi, they have little knowledge on access to information. Then on the supply side, they also have little knowledge on the Access to Information Act. So we thought together with the Afic, Twaweza, and also the colleagues from the ministry, it would be important to have this session so that we try and improve that situation. Then I'll just present a few slides because I was told we have very limited time. But overall, we see that 7 out of 10 citizens say that they want any information that is available. As long as it's not something to do with the national security, that information should be availed to them. So that scenario, yes, I'm seeing the sound clerk making a face. Yes, that is what citizens across the country think, that if it's not national security, that other information, they ought to have it. But now we shall have a training from the next presenter to tell us what kind of information can be available so that we are all clear, both the representatives from the media and also those from the district and sub-county offices. So here I'll just briefly go through this. We wanted to understand how easy, what is the experience of the citizen when they are seeking information. And we have seen that between 2017 and 2020, the number of people making successful requests for information has fallen. For example, the first, but when we read the first one, were you given information? In 2017, that proportion of those that say that they were granted information fully was 66%, that green. Then in 2020, that was in December, this number dropped to 54. So it didn't get better. Then in terms of how easy was it to get that information, for those that said it was very easy, in 2017, this was 54%. In 2020, this number reduced to 38%. That is a great decline. It's worrying because you have programs being implemented and people are saying it's harder to get information. So how does one partake of those many initiatives available when it's hard for them to get information? Then how many visits did it take for them to get the information? For those that took one visit, in 2017, this was 52%. Then come to 2020, this number also reduced to 26%. So half the number, meaning that now it needed more than one visit to actually secure information, which becomes a frustrating situation for any person. I mean, even for you, Mr. Town Clerk, if at all you went to the ministry at the center and you asked for this information and told you, no, you go back, then you travel again to Kampala, it becomes frustrating. You're most likely going to give up. So, here, this slide, it has a number of parameters that you use to just gauge the scenario that if at all one is to request for information, are they confident that they will get that information? We asked this same question in 2017, 2019, and 2020. And we've seen that over time, across different areas, that the confidence that people will get that information has actually been declining. As you can see, especially the bars at the bottom from here, just keeps declining, because this is 2017, that's 2020, which for us was indeed a worrying situation. Citizens are having it bad, they were not having good experiences. Then there's this other slide here. I'll just present two more and then I'll hand it over to the next presenter. So for this question, for this slide here, the findings, our rationale for asking this question was because the ministry was keen to know, do citizens know where to go in case they need information? That point when it was mentioned that we do that, personally, I didn't know much about the district structure. Fortunately, I was able to go to the internet and Google until I got something, a working something. Now, just imagine a person who has issues with internet. Because for me, I was fortunate that in the office there's the internet. But how about the one who has no smartphone? How do they get to know the different offices that are at the district? Because even here, I'm sure if I told us to randomly select anyone who came with us from Kampala and ask them, kindly remind me, the other gentleman who mentioned is the chair of this committee, what does that entail? I'm pretty sure a number of us would be quite not conversant with what that structure is. The town clerk is nodding his head, which means that yes, it is true that we need to see that we have the citizens understand the different, the district structure, the sub-county structure, so that they know which office they can go to seek information. Here what we have, we posed a number of scenarios. When one is starting a business, which office would they go to? We asked again, if you want to inquire about a government program, which office would you go to? And a number of other scenarios. But just to pick out the two, then it's there. So here we have, when starting a business, we see 70% say they do. Then those that feel, I know something, 14% said the LC1. Then, when we asked about if you want to inquire about a government program, which office would you go to? 66% say that they don't know. And at this point, again, I has to reflect on the different initiatives in place that are there to help the citizens improve their livelihoods. Then those that somehow say they know, again, they